I'm Dennis Bragg in Glacier National Park. Outgoing Superintendent Jeff Mao looks back with a sense of accomplishment, but also looks ahead to the challenges his successors are going to face in the years to come.
If there's a development historians will notice about the past decade in Glacier, it's the explosion of visitor traffic. Stats not lost on Mao, who took over just as the Park Service was completing a major reconstruction of the Going to the Sun Road.
We were the first national park west of the Mississippi to have over 1 million visitors in a month. And I think we could clearly articulate capacity. We'd met it.
Even with fire closures and COVID, people didn't stop coming. Gate closures, shuttles, and even limited parking didn't stop the crush, prompting Mao's administration to implement ticketed entry last summer, a plan that had some bumps but got good reaction too.
We got a lot of support for moving forward with the visitor use management plan, which resulted in ticketed entry in 2021.
Looking ahead, Mao says Glacier and its partners will need to continue messaging to give visitors options.
You know, the Going to the Sun Road is just the tip of the iceberg, and it's helping people understand all that lies underneath, the surface there, what to do here.
Of course, Glacier isn't alone, with other western parks also being flooded with additional visitors. He sees that as a big question going forward.
How can we sort of still provide that, quintessential Glacier experience for as many people as we can without crushing the resource?
Throughout the course of his career, Mao has focused on the question of climate change and how that's going to affect national parks, and he sees that as one of the big impacts facing Glacier in the decades to come.
Fires are the obvious but not the only impacts.
But I wouldn't be surprised if it comes in some other form or dynamic. We're seeing more extreme storms, more extreme weather. I've always said, what we'll see out of climate change is we'll turn up the volume on the weather. So it doesn't matter whether it's warm or cold, doesn't matter whether it's wet or dry, it's going to be more intense.
Mao also hopes his successors continue to work at telling the tribal story.
A lot of opportunity and continue to work with the Blackfeet and our other tribes in terms of, telling that story of the landscape, telling that story that goes back beyond, before the national park, is going to be incredibly important moving forward.
During his Glacier assignment, Mao also chaired the Interagency Grizzly Bear Committee as his colleagues wrestled with growing grizzly numbers.
While I know, there's a lot of pressures to delist the grizzly in the northern continental divide ecosystem, at the same time, I think there's a lot of energy putting into how do we make this landscape more secure for not just grizzly bears, but lynx and wolverine, other species as well.
Given his experience and decision to retire in the Flathead, I ask whether volunteering is part of that future.
Absolutely, probably volunteering a little bit. I've certainly been approached by some NGOs, who would sort of, like me to work with them a little bit. But, I've told them I need a couple months, to catch my breath, I guess. So,
in West Glacier, Dennis Bragg, MTN News.